Chosen one, what I am about to share with you is not just knowledge. It is a revelation, a divine awakening that requires your full attention. Too many believe that being chosen is a title to display, a badge of honor that comes without responsibility. But the truth is much deeper, much more profound. You see, being chosen is not just about receiving favor. It is about carrying the weight of divine accountability. Luke 12:48 declares, "To whom much is given, much will be required." This is not just a verse, it is a divine law, a covenant that governs the lives of those who have been set apart. And here is the truth that few will tell you. Just as you have been chosen, you can also be unchosen. Yes, you heard that correctly. Heaven does not play favorites. If you step out of alignment, if you abandon the principles that made you chosen, in the first place, divine favor will shift away from you. This is not meant to bring fear. It is meant to awaken you. Because too many chosen ones assume that their calling is permanent, that no matter what they do, no matter how far they drift, they will remain in position. But the truth is clear. Divine selection is not a trophy, it is a test of obedience, a test of discipline, a test of purity. Have you ever felt the weight of being misunderstood? Have you carried wisdom so deep it made you feel older than your years? Have you walked through doors no one else could see only to find yourself standing alone on the other side? If you are nodding, this is not a coincidence. This message found you for a reason. Being chosen is not about being special. It is about being responsible. It is about living a life that is aligned, humble, and obedient. And if you stray too far, heaven will realign its plan without you. This is why you must protect what has been placed inside of you. There are 5 unseen forces, subtle, deceptive, and spiritually dangerous, that can strip you of your status as a chosen one. Most people never see them coming because they do not arrive as obvious enemies. Instead, they hide in plain sight, within your habits, your relationships, your attitudes, even in your own fears. But today, you will see them clearly. And once you see them, you can no longer be deceived. The first of these silent destroyers is ego. Ego. The first thief of the chosen, it does not announce itself loudly. It does not arrive with arrogance or boastful pride. It slips in quietly, disguised as confidence, wrapped in the language of spiritual maturity. It tells you that you are more enlightened than others, that you are above correction, that because you are chosen, you are superior. This is the greatest deception of all. You were not chosen because you were better than others. You were chosen to serve others. The moment you begin to see your gifts as proof of your superiority rather than tools of service, you step out of alignment. Instead of kneeling before the source, you begin standing on a stage you built for yourself, forgetting that the light you carry does not belong to you. Pride is the downfall of many who were once chosen. It causes them to forget who gave them their power. It blinds them to correction. It makes them believe they are untouchable. And when that happens, the anointing begins to fade. Heaven will not flow through a heart polluted by pride. Are you serving or are you performing? Are you shining for the world or reflecting the one who called you? The truly chosen ones are not those who stand tallest. They are those who kneel lowest. Spiritual laziness, the slow drift from purpose. Being chosen is not a one-time event. It is a daily commitment. The gifts you have are like seeds, but without daily watering, through prayer, through meditation, through quiet communion with God, those seeds will dry up. Too many chosen ones lose their power, not because of one great failure, but because of small daily neglect. The first sign is a dulling of discernment. The second is an inability to sense divine signals. The third is when the once clear voice of heaven becomes distant, muffled by the noise of everyday life. Without spiritual discipline, you become spiritually dehydrated, and before you even notice, you have gone from being set apart to being just like everyone else. Discipline is not a burden, it is a lifeline. Imagine being handed a sword forged in heaven's fire, only to neglect it until it rusts and breaks in battle. That is what happens when a chosen one abandons daily spiritual practice. This is why Jesus often withdrew to pray. This is why Moses fasted before receiving revelation. This is why Paul lived a life of discipline, never allowing complacency to creep in. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence just to hear God's voice? When was the last time you wrote down a divine dream? When was the last time you prayed, not to ask for something, but simply to connect with the one who called you? If you have lost that daily rhythm, you are already drifting. And the longer you drift, the harder it is to return. The hidden cost of neglect. You do not lose your status as a chosen one because of one catastrophic failure. You lose it through small, quiet compromises. You lose it when you treat divine gifts as if they belong to you, instead of treating them like borrowed treasures. You lose it when you stop listening for divine instruction because you think you already know the way. You lose it when you allow the noise of the world to drown out the whispers of the Spirit. This is your wake-up call. Is your soul thirsty? Or is it saturated with divine presence? If you are dry, the answer is clear. Return to the source. Do not wait for a crisis to remind you to pray. Do not wait for disaster to remember your need for stillness. Go back to the altar. Kneel in humility. Open your journal again. Speak to the one who called you. And then, listen, because what happens next is up to you. The greatest defense against losing your status as a chosen one is not your strength. It is your surrender. It is your willingness to stay small so that God can remain big. It is your commitment to keep showing up in secret so heaven can keep trusting you in public. Ego and spiritual laziness are not just personal flaws. They are cracks in the foundation of your calling, and if you do not guard against them, they will make you vulnerable to even greater traps. Toxic relationships, paralyzing fear, the misuse of spiritual gifts. These are the next enemies we must uncover. Chosen one, the battle for your calling has only just begun. The path of the chosen one is not just about what you gain, but about what you must protect. The more you rise, the more there will be forces trying to pull you down. Some will come from the outside, in the form of distractions and attacks. But the most dangerous threats are the ones that come from within, the ones that slowly weaken you until you are no longer walking in divine power. If you do not recognize them, they will strip you of your anointing before you even realize what has happened. Spiritual laziness and pride are only the beginning. There are other silent thieves, waiting for an opportunity to enter. They do not arrive with a warning. They do not announce themselves as enemies. They disguise themselves as comfort, as companionship, as wisdom, and before you know it, you have stepped out of alignment without even realizing it. One of the greatest dangers to a chosen one is relationships that were never meant to be. The power of connection. How the wrong people can destroy your calling. Chosen one's life is not like everyone else's. You do not have the luxury of entertaining every friendship, every romance, every connection. Your energy is different, your purpose is different, and because of that, you must be careful about who you allow close to you. Some people come into your life not to bless you, but to drain you. Some people are drawn to your light, not because they appreciate it, but because they want to use it for their own gain. Some relationships were sent by the enemy, disguised as love, disguised as friendship, disguised as support, when in reality, they are assignments meant to weaken you. This is why discernment is your greatest weapon. Samson was chosen. He was powerful. He had divine strength that no enemy could defeat. But it was not an army that destroyed him. It was a person he trusted. Delilah did not come with a sword. She came with whispers, with comfort, with a false sense of security. And because Samson did not guard his sacred calling, he lost everything. Not every connection is a blessing. Not every friendship is safe. Not every person who smiles at you wants to see you win. If you feel drained after talking to someone, pay attention. If your spirit feels heavy around certain people, do not ignore it. If you have to dim your light to keep someone in your life, that is your sign to let them go. A chosen one's energy is rare. It is powerful. And because of that, it attracts both the right people and the wrong ones. You must be wise enough to know the difference. The subtle trap of fear. How the enemy uses doubt to paralyze you. Fear does not always come in the form of terror. It does not always feel like panic. Sometimes it is quiet. It shows up as hesitation, as second-guessing, as endless planning without action. It keeps you stuck, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for more confirmation, waiting for certainty that never comes. The enemy does not need to destroy you if he can convince you to stay still. How many dreams have died because of waiting? How many opportunities have been missed because of doubt? How many chosen ones have lost their path because fear told them they were not ready? Fear is a liar. Moses felt unqualified to lead. He told God he was not a good speaker. He focused on his weakness instead of his anointing. But God did not choose him because he was perfect. God chose him because he was obedient. David was young, too small to wear the armor of a warrior, too inexperienced to be on the battlefield. But God did not choose him because of his size. God chose him because of his faith. The enemy whispers that you are not ready because he knows that you are. He tells you to wait because he knows that now is the time. He magnifies your flaws because he knows your power is greater than you realize. You do not have to feel ready to be chosen. You do not have to be perfect to step into your assignment. You do not have to wait for everything to make sense before you move. Faith moves first. Faith steps forward even when fear is screaming to stay still. The misuse of your gifts. The final test of a chosen one. When the enemy realizes he cannot stop you, he will try to redirect you. He will not take your gifts away. He will tempt you to use them in ways that do not align with your purpose. He will whisper that you can still be chosen while chasing your own desires, that you can serve yourself and still carry divine favor, that you can have the calling without the discipline. This is the final test of a chosen one. Saul was anointed. He was called to be king, but he let power corrupt him. He began to move outside of divine instruction. He used his position for himself instead of for God's purpose. And because of that, he lost everything. Judas was chosen. He walked beside Jesus. He witnessed miracles, felt the presence of the divine, carried the message of the kingdom. But for a bag of silver, he sold his own destiny. Gifts without obedience are dangerous. Anointing without humility is destructive. Power without discipline will lead to downfall. This is why some people start strong, but do not finish. This is why some chosen ones rise only to fall harder than they ever imagined. This is why heaven does not hesitate to remove favor from those who abuse it. You have been given something sacred, something powerful, something rare, and the way you handle it will determine everything. Will you protect it, or will you allow it to be stolen? Will you guard your anointing, or will you trade it for temporary pleasure? Will you stay aligned, or will you drift into a path that was never meant for you? Everything you do now matters. The decisions you make today will determine whether you continue rising or whether you begin to fall. There is no in-between. There is no halfway commitment. You are either walking in alignment or walking toward destruction. This is the moment where you decide. This is the moment where you take responsibility. This is the moment where you protect what has been placed inside of you. Because if you do not guard it, you will lose it. And if you lose it, there may not be another chance to get it back. You have been set apart for a reason. The calling on your life is not ordinary. The path you walk is not like the others. That is why things have never been easy for you. That is why you have faced resistance at every turn. That is why the battles have been relentless. Because the weight of your assignment is great, and only those who endure will see the promise fulfilled. You are no longer who you used to be. The person who doubted, who hesitated, who questioned whether they were truly chosen, is gone. That version of you was necessary for a season, but that season has ended. Now you step forward in full awareness of who you are. You no longer ask if you are ready. You no longer wonder if you are strong enough. You know that everything you have gone through was training for this moment. This is why the attacks increased when you started moving forward. This is why people you once trusted have shown their true colors. This is why your spirit has felt restless. You are in transition. You are leaving behind the familiar, stepping into the unknown, walking fully in your divine power. And when that happens, everything changes. The weight of your anointing will separate you. The closer you get to your purpose, the lonelier the road becomes. Not everyone can go where you are going. Not everyone was meant to. Some people were part of your past, but they cannot be part of your future. Some attachments were lessons, not lifelong assignments. Some relationships were distractions disguised as support. You must release what is no longer aligned. Holding on to what no longer serves your spirit will slow you down. Trying to explain your growth to people who do not want to understand will exhaust you. Wasting time in places you have outgrown will keep you from stepping fully into what is next. You cannot afford that anymore. The time for questioning has passed. The season of waiting is over. The moment to move is now. This is where the pressure intensifies. This is where the enemy will try to make you doubt yourself one last time. Cannot stop what God has ordained, but he will try to distract you. He will use fear. He will use people. He will use circumstances. But none of it can work unless you allow it. You have already won too many battles to let this one shake you. You have already overcome too much to let fear have the final say. You have already broken too many cycles to fall back into old patterns. There is no room for hesitation now. There is no space for uncertainty. You either step into your destiny, or you let the moment pass you by. The doors that are opening now require confidence. The opportunities coming your way require faith. The elevation happening in your life requires you to walk boldly, knowing that you belong there. There is no imposter syndrome in the kingdom. There is no fear in divine alignment. What has been written for you will not be taken from you, but you must have the courage to claim it. There will be those who do not understand. There will be those who try to discredit you. There will be those who wish they had the favor you carry but are unwilling to do the work. That is not your concern. You do not lower yourself to prove anything to anyone. You do not argue with those who were never meant to understand your journey. You do not explain what God has already confirmed. You keep moving. You keep building. You keep walking forward. Because what is ahead of you is greater than what is behind. Because you were chosen for this. Because nothing can stop what has already been set in motion. Everything has been leading to this moment. Every battle, every lesson, every late night spent wondering if you were on the right path. Every tear shed in silence, every test of faith, every setback that felt like the end. But it was never the end. It was preparation. It was the breaking before the breakthrough, the refining before the rising, the stripping away of everything that was not meant to go with you into the next season. And now you stand at the threshold of something greater. You are no longer waiting for the right time. The time is now. You are no longer asking for another sign. You already know. You are no longer shrinking to fit spaces that were never meant for you. You have outgrown them. The doors you once knocked on are opening on their own. The opportunities you thought were impossible are becoming reality. The things you once had to fight for are now flowing effortlessly. Because you are in alignment. Because you have stepped fully into who you were always meant to be. But with new levels come new challenges. The enemy does not stop attacking just because you have made it this far. In fact, the closer you get to your promise, the greater the resistance. He will try to shake you one last time. He will whisper that you are not ready, that you do not deserve this, that you will fail. Do not listen. The only thing that can stop you now is doubt. The only thing that can delay you is hesitation. You have already won too many battles to let fear steal this moment from you. There is no more space for second guessing, no more room for playing small, no more tolerating what drains you, what distracts you, what keeps you from moving forward. You know too much to pretend you do not see. You have grown too much to go back to what once felt comfortable. The old you would have settled. The old you would have questioned. The old you would have waited. That version of you is gone. You do not chase anymore. You attract. You do not beg for a seat at the table. You build your own. You do not seek validation from those who never saw your worth. You walk in confidence, knowing that what is meant for you will find you. Because when you operate in divine alignment, everything flows, everything shifts, everything moves in your favor. The people who doubted you will watch you rise. The ones who tried to block you will see that nothing they did could stop what was destined. The battles you fought in silence will be the testimony that inspires others, and you will not even have to say a word. Your presence alone will be proof of what happens when faith is greater than fear, when obedience is stronger than doubt, when you refuse to quit before the promise is fulfilled. This is not just a new season. This is a new era, the beginning of something bigger than you imagined, the unfolding of everything that was meant for you. No more holding back, no more waiting for permission, no more delaying what has already been set in motion. You are walking forward now, with clarity, with purpose, with unstoppable faith, and nothing can stand in your way.